NET improved customer satisfaction by implementing technology, hosted by NET, National Electronic Transit Corp, and Fleet Enable. Couple of housekeeping items as we're getting started here. We're really hoping today's conversation can be an open and interactive one. So I encourage anyone watching to leave comments in the chat on the live stream. We will have about 10 minutes at least for Q&A at the end, and we'd be happy to answer your questions. And we will be saving the recording of this as well. So anyone that isn't able to join us live, or if you have to drop off, we'll send this out after the fact. With that, let's get started. I'm going to be your host and moderator today. My name is Michelle LeBlanc, and I'm the founder and CEO of Drop and Hook. We are a content marketing agency specializing in transportation and logistics. And I've had the pleasure of working with the Fleet Enable team for a number of years now, specifically supporting Krishna Vadapalli, founder and CEO of Fleet Enable, and one of our presenters today. Krishna, you want to take a moment to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Joe. It's very nice to have you here, and I'm very excited to talk about our topic here. And to our audience on all the various social channels, good morning, good afternoon to you all, and thanks for joining us. I'm Krishna Vadapalli, founder and CEO of Fleet Enable. Fleet Enable is a final mile management system built specifically for final mile carriers. We currently work with final mile carriers who do white glove deliveries or work with the air cargo segment or do cartage services. And we'll talk more about Fleet Enable in a few minutes. Joe?
Hi, good morning and good evening to some of you. I'm Joe Hall, Jr., the president of National Electronic Transit. We are a final mile delivery service based out of the Northeast, and I've had the pleasure of working with Krishna and his team over the last 24 months, 2 years or so. And I'm excited to talk about the topic at hand today because I think it's pretty relevant to our industry and really at the forefront. So thanks for having me.
Great. So to start us off, let's talk a little bit about our topic today. Our title is How NET Improved Customer Satisfaction by Implementing Technology. But specifically, we're really talking about customer satisfaction and customer experience in the final mile space and how technology can be something that supports that. And I think personally, this is such an interesting area because final mile really is the place that transportation and the delivery professionals really have the opportunity to impact a very real experience that someone might have with a brand. So I'd love to hear a little bit from each of you. What does today's topic kind of mean to you?
Well, I really like the topic from various reasons, right? And so as an end consumer, I ordered something online or I went into the store and I said, hey, I want this to be delivered to my home. The final mile is when I really experience everything about the product. It's the first time I touch the product. It's the first time that I experience the brand that is delivering it. So the driver and the carrier behind it and the whole operations team play an extremely important role, right? Right from the appointment setup all the way to a driver coming in, setting it up. So in the final mile delivery, every touch point is important. So that's why the customer satisfaction, customer experience is, that's what it means to me. And it's paramount in the final mile space.
Yeah, I totally agree, Krishna. Just being the direct representation for our customers, I think it's the handoff from sales to installation or assembly or delivery of a product into a customer's residence or their place of business. We're often, because there's a lot of product that's bought online nowadays without any direct human interaction, we're the first and last interaction with the customer. And, we represent those customers to the consignee. So I think this is, a very important part of the branding and sales process for any shipper.
That's it.
So we're going to talk a little bit about, how technology supports that customer experience. But before we get into that, I'd love to hear a little bit more from you, Joe. For anyone who's not familiar, can you share a little bit of the background of NET and, kind of your journey that brought you here today?
Certainly. So NET dates back 100 plus years in the trucking industry. My great grandfather started the business in 1918, and it was ice block delivery. So that really predates all of us. I don't think anybody that's watching this or participating today had ice blocks delivered to their house, but that's the origin of it. It's we've changed a lot through the last 100 plus years. And now we're really in the final mile segment. We were in the household relocation segment. We got into delivery and installation of copier equipment in the late 70s, and then really made a push into the final mile residential segment in the late 90s, early 2000s. So some of the other things that we do deliver some healthcare equipment, cabinetry, fitness equipment, and some commercial refrigeration units. So it's been a long ride. We've seen various different technologies throughout that time, but we've finally settled on a product that we really like, and we're happy to be here today to talk about it.
Great. And Krishna, from your end, can you talk a little bit more about the inspiration for Fleet Enable and what was your journey that brought you here?
Yep. Joe, that's very interesting. The inspiring journey of NET there, delivering ice blocks. So the customer experience there really has to be awesome. You cannot get water there. So thanks for sharing that. Michelle, talking about inspiration for Fleet Enable. So the company, the organization behind Fleet that built Fleet Enable is Imaginowate, where we deliver technology solutions to transportation and logistics companies. During our experience with that, we identified that there's a lot of gap in the final mile segment, and that's how Fleet Enable was born. So you know that there are quite a few TMSs out there, but most of these TMSs cater to everybody else, but only a few catered in the final mile segment. And even in that, they just cater to the shipper side of things. And the carriers are also using TMSs, but one, they're not modern, and two, these TMS, they had to change their processes because most of those TMS are focusing on the shipper. So that's an area where we felt that there's a lot of gap here, and there's a lot of need for the final mile carrier to have a technology system built specifically for them. So while we were continuing our research, then we found that there are a lot of things that there are a lot of systems that a final mile carrier is using to get their operations done, right from getting the order data or managing their orders, doing a routing and dispatching, and then a document management system, and all the way through billing, invoicing, sending order data back. All these things, they're using 4 to 5 different systems to get all these done. So that inspired us. And now we have Fleet Enable, which is a comprehensive system where we have all the features built into it, integrated into one. And as you can see here on this, in this image, organization management or managing a carrier's accounts, that's the shippers, a document management system, order, all these are integrated into it. And based on the nature of the order or the data available on an order, the system navigates or automates the workflow process. So the operator who is managing, or the dispatcher who is managing all the orders and scheduling, they are alerted, they're presented with information, and it makes their life much more easier. Again, because everything is integrated, you don't have to copy paste data, everything just moves seamlessly and things happen automatically. Based on the order status, a notification is sent out. Based on the order status, an invoice is raised. So that has been our inspiration, and that has been our growth journey for Fleet Enable.
So I think what that last graphic really illustrates very well is that customer experience in the final mile, when we say that, we're really talking about a lot of different moments during the entire delivery process. And after the delivery is complete, if you go all the way through to things like invoicing on the back end, all of those different experiences, both that someone like yourself, Joe, is having with your customers, as well as your shippers that you're working with are providing to their consignees. So, can you each talk a little bit more about what does that really look like? What are those moments for customer experience in the final mile, and what different aspects of the business are impacted?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's so many different touch points along the way, from the time an order is received through the time it's scheduled, and then all the back office functions that happen after the fact. I often say that the delivery part is the easiest part of the process at times. It's getting an order scheduled, notifying your customer that an order is scheduled, notifying your customer that it's there, um, getting a bill of lading to the customer. And in this day and age, that's needed in real time. A customer expects a signed document as soon as an order is completed. All of these things, were previously manual operations, and it was 4 or 5 different segments of the business that were touching one single order. And all of our customers had different needs and requirements, and Fleet Enable has brought that all together into one system that everybody within the business can operate out of. No longer do we have an order management system, and then we have a billing system, and then we have somebody else sending invoices. It's all encompassed in one system. So those are some of the ways in which we've incorporated IT into our customer experience, and Fleet Enable in particular. And that's really taken all the guesswork out of the delivery process, and given back time to the driver teams, and given back time to our back office to do the important things, which in our business is manage the exception. It's not manage every order along the way. It's what are we doing to manage the exceptions? And then the exceptions come to the forefront, and you're able to manage those and any issues that might come up throughout the course of the day, or just business in general. So Fleet has done a great job of incorporating all those steps in the process, and in turn really improving the customer experience.
Yeah. One point I would like to add is in the final mile space, apart from delivery, there are a lot of services that need to be done, like installation and all these things. So a driver has to remember what they need to do. Like for this particular customer, I need to perform these services, or I need to capture this data. And for another customer, I need to do a whole set of things. And even the service levels are different. Like there is a threshold, there's a curbside, there's a white glove, and it could mean a lot for different people. So with Fleet Enable, that's what we are solving, is that how can we make the driver experience also seamless, so that the data flows seamlessly back to the carrier's back office and operations team, and also to the shipper. So we invested a lot into the driver mobile application, which is based on workflow and which is based on rules. Based on the order data and the customer, it suggests what needs to be done. Okay, and Joe was talking about notifications, notifying the end consumer, the shipper, and everybody in real time. So we have quite a bit of an elaborate list of notifications that are built into the system, right from the moment of, did it hit my warehouse? Is it ready for dispatch? Is it put on the truck? Has the truck left the warehouse? Like that, there are 16 different variations right until the point of the driver is at the door. So using all these, a carrier can build a world-class exceptional experience for their shippers and the end consumers, right? So now as a consigning a consumer, I'm confident that somebody knocking at my door because I received a notification that somebody's at the door, I know it's the driver that's trying to deliver my stuff. And there's a customer checklist built into this one. So a customer can say, when you are at a customer location, I want you to capture these 5 things. A different customer may say, I want you to capture something else. Now, again, as I said, the driver doesn't have to worry about writing on a piece of paper and then figuring out what did I write there. Okay, there's a timestamp that automatically stamps it. They capture the data, and in real time, it's sent back to the system, and automatically it's sent to the shippers all in real time.
No, Krishna,
Okay. Once the delivery is,
oh, sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
It's funny how many checkpoints you say are in that process, because I sometimes joke with my customers that I can inundate you with notifications or updates, and they say, you're never going to inundate me with notifications because somebody somewhere is asking, has it been received? Is it on a truck? Has it been delivered? So, the multitude of options within the system, really allow for us to be in touch with the customer without picking up the phone, without sending an email or responding to an email. So I just wanted to interject there, and because I thought that was a valid point.
Yep. So thanks for that, Joe. And once the delivery is complete, there's a feedback mechanism, right? Once the driver says that, hey, I've completed this delivery, the system automatically sends out a customer feedback form, and for the consignee to fill it out and share it. So again, it's going to be customized to the shipper and customized for various needs, so that we can capture feedback in real time. And proof of delivery, that's the most important thing, right? I'm capturing, how did I deliver? How is this item, right? Has it been delivered in one piece? And where did I leave it if it's a curbside delivery? So now I can take pictures of that as a driver. I'm taking pictures, and it helps in claims management and all of that. So proof of delivery along with signature, timestamp, everything is captured in real time. And automated invoice generation. As soon as a delivery is complete, the system raises an invoice. So again, I know in the final mile space, there are a lot of configurations, a lot of options. A customer can say, I want an invoice to be generated as soon as it's delivered, or at the end of the day, or at the end of the week, or at the end of the month. Or I want everything to be clubbed and sent to me in one consignment. So all these can be configured in the system to make it easy for the back office operations to raise an invoice and send it. Finally, integrations, as we also spent a lot of time, because for a carrier, taking all the order data from an email and typing that is a cumbersome process, and most of them are still doing it. Okay, so we have various ways of integrating with shippers, as simple as, I want to upload a spreadsheet, to, hey, do you have EDI? EDI has been there for a very long time. It has its advantages, it has its disadvantages, but we honor EDI. We do EDI integrations. API is much more modern way of integrating with anybody because it's more flexible, it's easy to use, and I can pull and push to that information. So we integrate via API. And recently, we also introduced a automation aspect to it. Like, we automatically read emails or PDFs and documents, and automatically creates orders in the system. Okay, and all this is based on machine learning and artificial intelligence, so that it doesn't matter where the order is coming in, we automatically capture that, put it in the system. All these will give a lot of time back to the operations team, and also reduce the errors quite a bit. Okay.
Great. So what I'm really hearing is customer experience is automation and standardization of processes, so that you ultimately are providing a consistent customer experience every single delivery. But also, it sounds like having the ability to have that personalization and that unique experience, on a per shipper basis, or even on an individual transaction basis. And I think what's really interesting about that is that, ultimately it showcases how Final Mile is really about these relationships, you with your customers, with your individual employees within the business. And I think at that point, I'd like to hear a little bit more about, what has the relationship between NET and Fleet Enable been like over time, and how have you kind of both learned from each other and developed that, building a product that supports such a unique business?
I'll jump in first. And Joe has a much better way of saying this one. So I'll jump in first and give my perspective and pass it on to Joe. Us being a technology company with a lot of transportation background, we approached the final mile space saying that, hey, we are going to solve this and implement a lot of cool technology. And we started off building it as a dispatch and route optimization engine. So that's how we started. We did an awesome job. And now we felt like we built everything. And let's rule the world. I got introduced to Joe through a mutual acquaintance. I'm very thankful to him. And he said that, hey, Joe, we built an awesome product. Would you like to see? He was gracious enough. We gave a demo. And then after that conversation, he started explaining to us what else is included in the final mile. Then we realized that we built about 5% of what a final mile requires. And then through this collaboration, we built a lot of stuff. So the point there is, most of the time as a startup, you feel that you have a cool technology idea, but until you work with your business, you really don't know what's missing. So Joe and his team have been very gracious, and working with a carrier and carrier's team so closely helped us build a true system that's built specifically for a final mile carrier.
Yeah, Krishna, I know you think this is funny at times, but I like to draw the comparison to going on a blind date. It's, usually something you don't really want to do, but a friend says, help me out, go out there, go on a blind date. And, that's kind of what it was like. I was not in the market for a platform like yours, but, I wanted to help a friend out. So I went and talked to you, and, that turned into 2 years worth of conversation back and forth. And, what I really appreciate about you and your team is that you're willing to listen. You wanted to listen. You knew you had a great product, but it was a foundation that could, be built into something much greater. And, in listening and collaborating with us, you've built a great product, and it's specific to the needs of a final mile provider like myself. And it's really, I'm no longer looking to fit within somebody else's program or platform and kind of operate my business, intertwine it into this platform, but have to do all these other functions outside of it. I now have a platform that I can operate my entire business out of. So, I wasn't expecting this to happen. It's been a great journey with you and your team. And I commend your team and yourself on what you've done and your willingness to listen to, a final mile carrier that you had never heard of before that. So I really thank you for that.
Yep. Well, this collaboration really helped us to build a system that is specific to this industry, and allowed us to expand from the white glove services into the cartage services and air cargo market. So now the final mile is bigger, right? And we are able to serve all these market segments under final mile. And every new carrier that's coming on board, they feel like it's natively built for them. The reason is that's how we did it. We built in collaboration with the carrier.
But
thanks you for all of that.
You built it with a carrier in mind, but the customer is still always at the forefront of the process and the system. But it just, it allows a final mile carrier to provide better customer service while streamlining, their business, our business. So
I would love to hear from you, Joe. What are some of those results that you have actually seen in terms of how Fleet Enable has been able to support customer experience over time?
Yeah, I touched on a lot of these already, but it gives everybody in the process a view of what's happening. There's no guesswork. Everybody knows where the product is, when it's going to be delivered, and that it's been delivered, and provide all the documentation or API integrations after the fact. So it just has completely streamlined our business, and it in turn has helped our customers. An example of this would be, we would make a delivery today, the paperwork would get handed in tomorrow, an invoice later in the day, an invoice wouldn't go out to the following day. So there's 2 days additional in that process where our customer can't then continue their process and invoice their customer. Now an order is delivered, it's real time. It goes into an audit process. All of the accessorials are taken into account. An invoice is generated automatically, and our customer, within minutes of having the delivery made, now has the bill of lading. They can go back to their customer and an invoice. So those in itself have really helped us out, really helped our customers out. And one other thing that we haven't touched on, but we've seen a huge improvement in our claims processing. Anybody in the final mile business knows that if we're waiting on disposition of a product that might have been damaged or refused by the customer, it is a very long process. It often sits on somebody's dock for weeks or months or years at a time, and nobody takes action on it. But when something is refused or there's an exception in the system, we immediately have the pictures. We immediately have pictures of the product, the carton, everything involved with that product, and we can get it to the customer to make a disposition decision quickly, and either take action on that product or get it off of our dock. So both from the customer standpoint and the final mile carrier standpoint, that's been a huge improvement. So it's just really streamlined our business, this platform, and I can't thank you enough, Krishna, and your team for developing a final mile carrier centric product.
Great, thanks for that.
Great. So with that, we're going to open it up to questions from the audience, and I would encourage anyone watching to enter your questions as a comment on the chat. We did have one come in from LinkedIn while we were talking, specifically asking, does the driver have to download an app? What does that look like? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so the driver downloads an app, and it's there in front of them. There is a training process to that. It's very user friendly. We were one of the first, if not the first, carrier on board, and there was a very minimal training process required. It's a clear and concise app. It goes step by step. You have to provide the information that's requested. And our drivers have used multiple apps throughout their time here, and they often comment that it's the easiest app that they've used. So to answer your question, there's an app, and it's very simple and user friendly.
Adding to that, the app is available on both iOS and Android and Google Play stores. And it's compatible with tablets. So it's one app you can download and install it on any device.
Great. And would you say that this app generally replaces the drivers needing to have any shipper-specific apps?
Yeah. Krishna touched on that a little bit in the integration conversation, but we at times have 8 to 10 applications that the drivers were running on a daily basis. So, the problem with that is the redundancy of input into 2 different apps. So now we've made the connection to eliminate some of those apps. We're still gathering all the information that our customer needs, But instead of then logging into another app, we've replaced that with Fleet Enable, and have pushed that information to our customer. So it's really simplified the driver's days. And then on the back end, there were some back office platforms that we needed to update that we've eliminated also. So it's really helped in kind of eliminating all the noise from the driver's process and the back office process.
Great. That's actually a nice pivot into another question we had come in here, which is, can you give an example of the back office experience and what tasks specifically were you able to automate?
All of them. So, we were very paper heavy. I don't like to admit that or say that, but we were very paper heavy company at one point, and a lot of trucking companies are. You have the UPSs and the FedExes of the world that have a little tablet that you can sign, and that's great. But having a wide range of customers with a wide range of needs and paperwork, we've been able to automate all those bill of ladings and then push forward invoices after that. Provide pictures of the successful delivery. All those things were either, a document management process, an emailing process, or a phone call from the customer. Those really no longer exist because of the system. Great.
We had one more question come in on our chat here from LinkedIn that I think we have time to take. How do you see the automation of business documents through EDI and APIs like load tenors and statuses facilitate visibility and efficiencies with your TMS and carriers in the final mile?
So I'll take that. So I think I touched on it earlier. So via EDI, we get order information, load tenders, and all of that, which can come into the system, automatically show up as an order, and similarly via API as well. And we also have email automation where we can read documents and create an order, and vice versa. We push back information about appointment updates. We push back data about how a PO is being captured. So all that, depending upon the preference of the shipper with the carrier, we take all the data and push it back to them in a similar fashion.
Great. We have one more question that came in on the chat. I know we're at the top of our time for today, but I think we could probably speak to this. Does Fleet Enable support tracking of DOT hours of service for carriers and drivers, or is there any other integration with carriers that have a pre-existing ELD, for example?
Yep, we integrate with any ELDs that are pre-existing. So we do that. At this point, we are not tracking the DOT hours or anything because the current carriers that we are working with, they always are within the limit. So that hasn't been a big push yet. It's on our roadmap. And at this point, we are focused on ELD integration and hours of service, all of that. It's on the roadmap. It can be pushed up depending upon our customers coming in.
Great. So I think that's a great next step to close us out here. If someone is interested in learning more about Fleet Enable, Krishna, you want to talk about what's the best way to get in touch?
Yep. So I know in this presentation, we did not get a chance to do a quick demo of the product. And so if any of you are interested, you're a carrier, you would like to know more about Fleet Enable, please scan this QR code. You get a 45-day free trial, no hooks, no strings attached, and feel free to use the system. Well, you can also give us feedback. So we always would like to learn. So that's one way to do it. Go to our website, fleetenable.com, to know more about it. And give us a call at 216-293-7917. I should try saying that faster, like the radio jockeys, like 216-293-7917. Our lines are ringing hot and heavy. So or drop us an email at finalmile@fleetenable.com. Okay. If you have questions or you would like to discuss more with Joe to know more about his business or know more about how Fleet Enable and NET have collaborated, feel free to reach out to him via this email. And if you are a carrier, a potential customer of ours, if you are an enthusiast in the technology space, in the final mile space, and would like to learn more, and we are always open for collaboration, feel free to reach out to me at krishna@fleetenable.com. Okay. And there's a lot to do here. There's a lot more innovations that can be brought to the final mile space, and we'd like to hear from you all. And let's all deliver better. Hey, Michelle, Joe, thanks for being here. Michelle, you've been a wonderful host. Joe, you've been kind with your time for the past few years and today. So thanks for all of that. And thanks to all of you for being part of our webinar. And we look forward to hearing from you all. And we look forward to seeing you all in our future webinars. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.